The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Coming up tonight, Atlantis looking to shed staff. The mega resort is enticing managers to take early retirement. Is this an indication of financial troubles? Also tonight, Southern Shore's MP Leroy Major vocal. It's one of few times we've heard him speak. Major speaking out about backbenchers not getting a fair play. Here's the question though, is he aware of the parliamentary system that the Bahamas follows? Now that both the PLP and the F&M have had a chance to flex their muscles publicly, what is the temperature towards both? We take a look tonight. And later, Nurses Union President Muriel Lightbourne ousted, reportedly by her Secretary General? What's really going on in the Nurses Union? This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. A shake-up at the Atlantis Resort on Paradise Island, the resort announcing a voluntary early retirement and separation package for members of its managerial team. The move comes amid what officials call numerous requests from team members seeking early exit options. The offer is being rolled out for a limited time and is entirely voluntary, but signals a potential restructuring within one of the country's largest private employers. The package will be customized based on employee role and tenure, but so far, no word on how many managers could accept the deal or what impact this could have on daily operations. Eyewitness News understands that the Department of Labor was made aware of the move by resort officials sometime last week before today's news release. It's a story we are going to continue following. And meanwhile, we're going to jump in with some opinions of our own here on the show this evening. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines, our contributors, Leslie Miller and Garth Roseborough. Gentlemen, good evening to both of you.
Good evening to you. Good evening, Bahamas.
Good evening to those folks who are watching. Shanique, I saw some of your fans from Grand Bahama in Florida when I was on vacation. So.
Ah, really? Well, hello, Grand Bahama in Florida. Also, hello to Michelle Dorset, who is watching tonight. She's enjoying a special day in Grand Bahama. Thank you all. They do watch, and I thank you all so much for watching here in New Providence as well and around the country. And of course, the United States. It's good to have you all tuned in. Thank you so much for tuning in. Gentlemen, we hear the move to have managers take an early retirement package is strictly voluntary, but does this suggest or even hint at financial trouble at Atlantis?
Well, I wouldn't really say that it hints of financial problems. I mean, the world has gone through changes post-COVID-19. Atlantis has seemingly had a very strong turnout in terms of tourism dollar over the past few months. As normal, the month of May in the tourism year is also a weak month. That would also include September, October, and a part of November. And so right now, coming out of May, I would say that the doors are open for resetting. It actually allows people who are on the lower level of employment to now basically go ahead and now achieve a higher level of employment. You can now be an assistant manager. Salaries can now be adjusted. And I think this is just a normal procedure for any large corporation or entity in terms of how the system works from a human resources standpoint. So at this particular point, I would say, congratulations to those who are seeking early retirement. As for the organization itself,
listen,
if that's what they want, this is what they're now going to get. I'm going to say this, Unique. I too was employed at Atlantis at the timeshare resort. I did not want to resign or retire, but I was retired. And the package that I got, thanks be to God, in 2025, I could still say hallelujah.
Really?
It was in there, oh my God. The first sum I got was like, my God, this is the most money I've ever gotten
Seen
in
at
my
one
life.
time.
And then they gave me a second one, and I didn't even know that was coming. I said, but my God, what a double blessing this was.
So you're saying this could be a blessing in disguise for
yes.
those managers who decide to take up on the offer, Leslie?
Yes, it can be.
I find that very interesting, you know. Over the weekend, I did some campaigning in one of the areas of New Providence, and I run into a lady, a white Bahamian lady, very nice lady. Her husband worked for Atlantis for 22 years.
Mm-hmm.
He got a heart attack a few years ago, and he died. And she went to see what she could get based on the years that he was there. And they gave her $100.
Man, that,
Oh, no,
Leslie, no way.
no.
I was shocked to hell. She went to the Labor Board, and the Labor Board told her
There's nothing they could
that
do.
they had the right resorts to give her whatever they wanted to give him. And she ended up with $100 in her hand after 20 plus years of service as one of the top bartenders at Atlantis. That was told to Dave and myself on Saturday. Okay, I was shocked.
Well, I would want to see
Now,
that.
we got to appreciate that Atlantis is owned by a group in Canada, a hedge fund group in Canada. That's who it was sold to. And these are very savvy business people. And they were trying to sell Atlantis now for the last 10 years. They can't get a buyer that's prepared to pay them what they want. I think what is going on now, this is an offer for top management, Bahamian managers, to get out. If they're making an offer and the offer is fair, and you feel like you can pay off your mortgage, you can pay off your outstanding bills, I say take it, providing they don't offer you the $100. But it is interesting that this happened at this time. Bear in mind the recurrence of what is going on in Grand Bahama. If that $120 million could go in the bank here, in the government's coffers, Bahamians may be able to switch and still accept jobs in Grand Bahama. But it's very interesting because people must know that Atlantis has been for sale now for at least 10 years. And no one has stepped to the plate to make them the offer that they feel is feasible to enable them to make a profit on the investment that they made over 10, 15 years ago. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. It's going to be interesting too to see what the Labor Board position is, because obviously from listening to God and yourself, it tells me that Bahamians have already gone to the Labor Board trying to find out what is in this for us, because they're saying that's an offer.
It's an offer.
That offer is not going to be in your best interest. It's going to be in the company's best interest. Let's appreciate that. Okay? A conglomerate does what is in their best interest. They may want to cut staff to enable them maybe to get a better sale, because nobody wants to be top heavy with staff. A new entity puts in an entity that was going to cost about $1 billion was the last price I heard. Okay? So if they can get rid of 1,000, maybe 2,000 people, that would bring down the tremendous overhead and the tremendous payroll that's being done on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. So, you know, I don't take these things lightly. And the Ministry of Labor should not take it lightly either. You know, find out what is involved in this package that you all are offering. What is behind this?
Yeah.
The way, when you pull that curtain, are you in a position now to, you're getting ready to sit down somebody to give you a 4M offer now to sell? And they will do this for you. They let go a staff of said if they're coming in with new management doing it. That's why most hotels would cut staff based on what they're trying to do, on what the partner who's trying to purchase would accept. Because nobody ought to be burdened. But as soon as you come and get a damn strike on your hand, like we had to let it go 1,000 people, now we're in a strike. Because the Prime Minister is not going to allow it to happen, you know that. Because he spoke last week on these things, with Bahamians getting kicked out of jobs and the foreigners coming and taking those jobs.
Well,
so that's
I
not allowed to
agree,
be
but
allowed
could
to
this
happen.
also,
Not by Philip Brave
it
Davis.
doesn't have to even be a foreigner. Could this restructuring that they are talking about and alluding to also include less human interaction? For example, you know, a lot of the world is moving towards automation and AI, whatever, robotic, whatever it is. I mean, could you envision something like this where they are totally, that they feel, getting more bang for their buck, getting more done and accomplished, and not so much having to shell out all this money?
But I think it would be mutually beneficial. Listening to what Mr. Miller just said a while ago about a bartender and his spouse only getting $100. If you are now given the opportunity to really seriously contemplate retirement, you now need to take the responsibility to do your research, check out what investments you can make, and if that story is so, ensure that if anything were to happen to you, that you'd be able to have your family fall on their
Be
feet.
sure that your home is paid
And
for.
so what he has said is true in terms of how corporations work, but also, once again, it can be a grand opportunity for those people who are in management at this particular time.
Listen, gentlemen, we're going to shift gears now from the political arena. Fort Charlotte Member of Parliament Alfred Sayers is confirming that he will not seek renomination in the upcoming 2026 general election. He made the announcement in Parliament today, following weeks of speculation, as he reportedly made the announcement during a branch meeting with constituents several weeks ago, but refused to confirm it until today. In his final budget communication, Sayers looked back on his political journey and what lies ahead.
After much prayer, thoughtful discussion with my family, and critical reflection, I have advised the Prime Minister and the leadership of the Fort Charlotte branch that I will not be seeking a nomination in the upcoming general elections. This moment marks not an end, but a transition, one rooted in grace, perspective, and purpose. Public service demands much, not just for the one who serves, but of those who stand beside them. To Prime Minister Philip Davis Casey, the honorable member of Cat Islands and Salvador and Rumkey, I thank you for appointing me as Minister of Works and Public Utilities and Minister of Immigration and National Insurance.
Gentlemen, your thoughts?
Well, from his verbiage, from his actions, from his speech, we want to thank him for the time that he served the country and all that he's done for the country, and I bid him farewell and God's blessing. Godspeed.
I've known the honourable member for at least 50 years, 60 years of my life. Very brilliant Bahamian. I guess one of the most brilliant minds that we've had in our country. He taught at NYU University, graduated from there, almost top of the class. He's a very renowned lawyer in the country. Did a wonderful job as Minister of Education. They're still talking about the things that he did on behalf of the young Bahamian students in our country and the system in itself. I had at one time when we sat in cabinet together from 2002 to 2007, really felt that he had a chance to be the Prime Minister and the one to control the levels of government in this country. That didn't come to pass. He served well with his colleagues as someone you can trust, you can believe in, and his word was his bond. I think he did a wonderful job in representing the good people in his constituency. I wish he and his family all the best and hope that someone worthy of the merit that he exemplified would be given an opportunity in that seat that he held for such a long time. I wish him well for the future.
Well, speaking of wishing well, Progressive Liberal Party Member of Parliament for Southern Shores, Leroy Major, is accusing a local daily reporter of misinterpreting his comments during an interview. This as he seemingly stood on a point of order during today's meeting and broke his silence after declining to comment following the release of the news article. Last week, a headline read, "PLP backbenchers don't get fair play," quotes. The article stated Major seemingly frustrated, noting that from his view, the voices of those who do not sit around the cabinet table are not heard as much as cabinet ministers.
It has nothing to do with Southern Shores being disenfranchised by any sitting cabinet minister. Had everything to do with Leroy Major being nominated for the next general election. That reporter has misinterpreted everything.
We accept that. We understand.
You sure?
We accept.
But I don't want to hear it again. I don't want to hear it again. No, I don't want to hear it again. No, I don't want to hear it again. I don't want to hear it again. Let's get it right. Let's get it right. Whatever that reporter said about me and my colleagues is incorrect. And it from me, Leroy Major, the Member of Parliament for Southern Shores. All right?
Dickens is he saying? But, I mean, anybody knows. Is he getting a nomination?
I'm trying to figure that out right now. I'm sitting here and I'm awestruck. I'm like, what's the point we're trying to make here? Mr. Major, Minister Major was the former chairman of the BAIC, Bahamas Agricultural Industrial Corporation. During his tenure there, we've heard many a situation and stories, some of them circumstantial. We're not sure if they were true, if they were not true. There were some accusations coming from the third parties of some activity happening by his house with community members. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Based on the question marks and based on his removal from the corporation, I would have then assumed at that point that he would not be getting a second chance at a nomination. This now coming to head to me is futile. This is something that I would have foreseen some time ago, and I was at the point ready to just simply bet the bottom dollar that he would not get a nomination. So I don't know what everyone is so, audible about and speaking about and oratory about. To me, it has no merit. I see nothing in it. Nothing.
I don't quite understand what that old voice was about in Parliament. I read what he had to say for 10 days ago, I guess. His tenure in Parliament has been
shaky.
I guess as good as he could get. Part of his area, part of his constituency constituted about a third of my old constituency, Tall Pines and Blue Hills.
He's been unimpressive.
And they haven't been a stellar performance, but be that as it may, he is a sitting member of Parliament. Nominations are now, I guess, gearing up for all of those who want to run the next election, and we should see what his future is all about within the Progressive Liberal Party as a candidate in the upcoming general elections. That's all I would say.
And if he gets a nomination and wins, then perhaps he should try get a seat around the table. But Leslie, backbenchers are normally in a support role, no?
Well, with the amount of cabinet ministers that are there, I think we have 22 cabinet ministers. I see all of the backbenchers really having positions of their own where they can make a contribution. Like he was a chairman of BAIC. And look at the other chairmen of Beach and Parks, who Mr. Bonamy has done a wonderful job, who's out there doing his work, and the other members who are in their own positions. The Prime Minister was very succinct in giving all of the backbenchers an opportunity on different entities to show their own weight, and I think they've most of them done a good job in doing so. So it remains to be seen what's the situation with Southern Shores.
Yeah.
We should wait and we should see. I'm not going to second guess the Prime Minister on anything right now, politically.
When we come back, Prime Minister Davis telling the nation, get ready for election. What does it mean? Everybody is trying to guess and decide exactly when. We're going to talk about that when we come back after the break.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Call now to get more of the care you need.
At the Water and Sewage Corporation, safety and convenience are our top priorities. However, our meter readers face challenges that can make their job difficult. Locked gates to guard dogs sometimes leads to missed readings and estimated bills, which can be frustrating for you and us. That's why we're upgrading to digital meters. They bring safety, accuracy, and convenience to homes across the Bahamas. We can streamline data collection, reduce on-site visits, and provide more accurate bills with no more estimates. Digital meters also help detect leaks early, saving you from costly bills and reducing water waste. Soon, a user-friendly app will let you track your water usage, manage bills, and stay informed, all at your fingertips. Over the next year, we're rolling out digital meters nationwide, transforming how we serve you with a safer and cost-efficient water supply. To learn about our digital meters, visit our website or call us today. And don't forget to update your information at any of our locations.
I feel good when you're wrapped up in my arms, dancing to a reggae song. Feel good, feel good. I feel good, cause your perfume isn't loud, and only I can talk about. Feel good, feel good. You feel like velvet rubbing over my skin, and when your head.
Measles is on the rise around the world, and the Bahamas is at risk,
which makes us very vulnerable as a nation for the possible outbreak of measles cases.
Every Saturday in May from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., the Ministry of Health and Wellness will host MMR immunization visits in South Beach, Coconut Grove, Fox Hill, and Elizabeth Estates. Clinics in these areas will remain open until 8 p.m. twice per week. Get your child immunized now.
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
This segment of Beyond the Headlines is brought to you by EV Motors. Drive the future with brand new 2024 electric vehicles. EV Motors, powering your journey.
So here's a question for you this evening. Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. What do you make of this? Prime Minister Davis said after the Labor Day parade at a gathering, I think it was at Clifford Park, that just telling everybody, including his supporters obviously around him, get ready for election. Leslie Miller, Garth Roseborough, just very succinct. That he said a few other things, but certainly that is what people really paid attention to. Your thoughts on exactly when the bell is perhaps going to ring?
Finally we get to the sweet juice. Thank you, Jesus. Listen here, listen. I was at home during the Labor Day parade. I just returned from Michigan, and I was just so excited to get the news of what would happen on Labor Day. Mm-hmm. This is what I got. People were calling me, when is the announcement going to be made for this upcoming general election? And so everyone seemed to be listening for the words to come from the leader of the Progressive Liberal Party, the Honorable Prime Minister. Election season is now open, and election is coming soon. We were waiting for that. But me, I looked online and I saw those shirts. Let me tell you something. I saw the shirts. You see, what you have to understand about the PLP,
Garth, I don't want you to jump ahead.
You can tell when election is coming, Shanique Miller, just by the way the PLP looks. They don't have to say a word to you. Look at the design of the shirts. This I recall, Mr. Leslie Miller, back to 2011 and 2012 election. You remember those gold shirts that they came up with? Look almost like a good Junkanoo presentation, and it wowed everybody. And so I was getting news from everybody, Shanique Miller, I got to get one of them shirts. And that's when I knew.
Oh, wait a minute, hold on. That was the word on the street?
I tell you what's going on. Guess what happened? I got 2 shirts in my car right now. They brought 2 shirts for me today. I got my shirts.
Hold on, when you got your shirts?
Today, and the 2 hats.
Garth, wait a minute. So people around you were saying they have to get their hands on the shirts.
It ain't a political thing.
It's
a pretty shirt. You just got to get one of them shirts.
Then they brought the shirt to you.
Yes,
Leslie, Garth, jump right in. I wanted to know what people, well, first of all, Leslie, you answer this then. What does this get ready for election mean? You think, how do you interpret it?
I think the Prime Minister, in his wisdom, is now appreciating the fact that the Bahamian people has appreciated what he has attempted to do in the last 4 years on behalf of the Bahamian people. He met an economy that was in shambles. He's brought us out of the nonsense that was going on 4 years ago. And I think he appreciates the fact that if you ask the average Bahamian, are they better off today than they were 4 years ago, they'd say yes. Those honest ones and who don't want to get politically involved. The economy is in pretty decent shape. People are working. I was proud when he made the announcement last week. He's not going to tolerate.
What if somebody is sitting on the fence say that's unfair? 4 years ago, the world was shut down,
yes,
including the Bahamas.
Yes.
And so, of course, their lives are better today than it was then. What if somebody says that?
I think most people appreciate that what we went through affected all of our lives and, in fact, the entire globe. But they also will not forget the fact of what the government put the average black Bahamian through during that same period. When the painted boys were getting arrested for going on the street, when you go and get water because you don't have running water, it was a problem. When people were allowed to come into the country to go to a funeral for dogs out Lightfoot Kane, Old Fort Bay, and we had problems to go to the funeral for our loved ones. When one woman or two women of different color from us was allowed to spend over $50 million of our money that we put in the treasury, we had to go to them instead of going to the regular fellas on Wolf Road who had more experience than them, who knew about feeding people in dire straits.
Mr. Miller.
That's some of the things. And also the fact that the cost of living has jumped to such a degree now.
Well, inflation remains an issue
find answers,
globally.
But, you know,
Would you say, Garth?
This is what I'm saying. We knew all those things that happened, Mr. Miller.
Yes.
What we did also hear was Vision 2040. What we did see was our beloved Prime Minister traveling all over the world, and we felt as if we had been abandoned. I'm just going to be very straight with you. For the last 3.5 years, I sat in this very space, and I've said to you time and time again that this is what was going on in the hearts of the Bahamian people. I also said to you, nearing year 4, that we're going to now start talking about election, and all of a sudden, attention is going to be paid on the Bahamian people. I said that to you. I also said that the royal opposition was lousy. Let me just say they were lousy. They're still lousy. They still have not done what they're supposed to do. And the people of the Bahamas is expecting more.
They fumbled in the last 4 years.
They're still fumbling. And I said to them, in year 4, the Progressive Liberal Party is going to catch their wind. And when they do, they're going to be a huge menace and problem to the royal opposition and anybody else who dares to run in this upcoming election. You allow the PLP to catch their breath. I am telling you, they are out of the blocks. They are on their way to victory for 2026. And God help you if it happens tomorrow, because you're not ready. I told you.
So then let's look at this. Look at the big public events. These events were to prove a point, send a message, test the waters, and obviously kind of put feelers out there.
And you know it.
First, the F&M fair.
Very disappointing. Extremely disappointing. I believe Dr. Minnis showed up a couple hours before it was over with. I understand Ms. Ingram was there, but you have to realize one thing. The Bahamian people, the average F&M, has little faith in the leader of the F&M. One of my good friends, one of the top guys in the F&M, Stalwart Council all his life, he said it best. He said there's no faith in the leadership, and they must appreciate that they need to find a new leader if they're going to be competitive in the 2026 general election.
At this point, I agree with you, Mr.
Pentad don't have the ability, the capability, and the wherewithal, and the love that people want to find in someone who's going to lead them to a more prosperous life in his heart. And they see that man as being the Honorable Prime Minister Davis, who came from Wolf Road, came from Rural Avenue, and he appreciated the pain and suffering that they're going through.
Let's stay on the F&M. Garth, you weigh in on the F&M fair.
Listen, we sat here before I left on vacation, and Shanique, I said to you, God help them if people don't show up to that fair. Did I not say that?
Yes, you did.
I left this country, and oh Lord, I couldn't wait to see the results, and I got those results firsthand. Let me tell you something. I dared you, and you could not stand up to the dare. I told you you were not ready. And you were telling us, oh, we have a plan. We're going to make it right. Don't worry, you people who support us, you're going to see. Well, the people supporting you, I hope you now see, because we still have not gotten anything materialized as yet. How long will you people wait? How long will you people be disrespected by leadership in your organization? These people don't seem as if they even understand what it means to even come forward and attract the Bahamian people's confidence. It is not there. It is not coming. And if you're going to wait for that, it's going to be disastrous for you in the upcoming election. You have to make some hard decisions and say, you know what? This is our beloved organization, and it's bigger than just a leader. It has to be at the heart of the Bahamian people, and we're going to make the adjustment. You must do it now.
The FNM on Labor Day.
The FNM on Labor Day, I think it was noble of them to wear the Bahama print shirt, but once again, as they made the speech at the fair, he said, all was welcome. Whether you were PLP or COI or FNM, come down to the fair. To me, you've already given up. You've waved the white flag. And for you to do that again on the march and just simply come in just regular clothing, yes, we know Sir Randall Fox. Yes, we know about the Labor Day March. But we also know from past history that you all have come out strongly in your colors. And you all had a strong following and a strong base. Right now, the leadership's confidence in their own voter support base is not there. FNMs, listen to what I'm saying to you today. In the name of our country, the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, do better. Make these people do what they're supposed to do and get it right. Right now, you're far off course.
Leslie, the FNM on Labor Day.
I find this whole situation with the FNM trying to claim on the other group, including one of the labor unions. As a little boy growing up through McCullough Corners, 1962, the PLP and the labor union was always one. It was a group of black people who wanted a better life after the strike of 1958 and what have you. And the only way they could have gotten that was to organize themselves with the labor movement and ingratiate all of those babies that had jobs into their fold. It was just one. There was never no distinction between who's the labor union and the PLP. The PLP always had out in full colors to show their support, and every other union did the same thing.
But even after that, you said 62, but as far as I remember as a reporter,
everyone
years later, every political organization would have their colors on the march.
We support you.
Shanique Miller, Leslie Miller, let me just make this.
I just don't get it.
Let me just make this plain. Let me just make this plain very, very quickly, if I may. Mm-hmm. This is the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Yes.
There is nothing that happens in this country that is not political.
Yes.
Labor Day was just political. Independence is going to be political. Back to school is going to be political. Thanksgiving for the elderly is going to be political. Christmas with turkey and ham is going to be political. Majority Rule Day is going to be political. When you go to a funeral, you either go into an FNM church or a PLP church, when you listen to the person in the pulpit, they talk in PLP talk or FNM talk, is going to be political. Mm-hmm. This is a political country. Do not say that the Labor Day parade does not have any political value. Of course it does. And anybody who wanted to show strength should have been there on that parade to say, you know what, this is who we are, and this is the strength that we're going to bring to the table.
The PLP on Labor Day.
The gist of the PLP.
The PLP on Labor Day.
Listen, I've been to every Labor Day, as I can remember in my lifetime. That's at least 50 years. On this time was the biggest one. When I say the biggest one, more PLP showed up in their regalia than I've ever seen in my lifetime. But that's only showing you that they came out to support the labor union because they themselves are workers. I don't understand. That's what bothers me. I'm a worker. What the hell do you expect me to go in?
No, but
if
Leslie,
I'm a PLP or FNM,
we understand that.
I'm there to support
we understand
my
that,
family
Leslie,
and my friends.
Yes, of course.
A worker.
PLPs, FNMs are workers. Everybody are workers.
Yeah,
but I'm
workers.
talking now, I've shifted politically. How did the PLP look politically on the march and at their gathering?
Listen, I believe after that march on Friday and we end up at Clifford Park, and the Prime Minister saw himself what was going on in the leadership in the party, they decided, listen, tell the people, let's get ready. Because the enthusiasm was there. The FNM, their problem is leadership. I hate to say it, but that's what it is. But as I go campaigning through the length and breadth of this country every single weekend, there's little to be said about the leadership of the FNM. People are afraid of them because they were there during the difficult times that Bahamians went through that last 4 years that they faced, when they went through eternal hell. Those same people who could have made a difference are there now at the helm. And they're saying, why should I vote for these guys? We know what they're going to do. They're going to dump us. Don't forget, their leader said at that time that the small man was going to be taken off the next time they win. Remember he saying that?
I recall those things, but I'll also say this to you, Shanique Miller and Mr. Leslie Miller. That was a statement from the PLP of their strength. That's what it really was.
That's what it was.
Now, I just want to put it in perspective quickly, Shanique Miller. The Free National Movement came out in their numbers. We heard from a third party, the COI, that they were not going to participate in that march because they believed that the march itself was disrespectful to Sir Randall Fox. That's what Mr. Lincoln Maine said.
Ain't no sense of what people even
So
talking about
this is what I'm saying to you, though. If you saw the performance of the Free National Movement at the R.M. Bailey Park where their fair was dismal, wasn't that the best time for the COI to make a public call to all the people who support them, say, you know what, let us now show our strength based on some poll that someone was sending around, whether it was truthful or erroneous? This was the moment when you could have shown your political strength, and you did not take advantage of that opportunity. It wasn't going to cost you $1 to ask all your supporters to wear white shirts, come out there and march with the leader of the COI. But you know what you said? Oh no, we're not going to participate in that because it's a disrespect. My friend, you're not focused. Like Michael Pinard said, this is Labor Day, you better focus. But the focus you should have is winning the next general election.
They did that to save themselves the embarrassment.
But we know that. But you
you
can't say that on the air, Leslie Miller.
They did it to
If
save
you got
themselves
it, bring
embarrassment.
it. But if you got
Let's
it, you
face
got to bring it.
They would have been embarrassed because they couldn't get 500 people out there. There's no way they could have get 500 people. 500 was about 50,000.
Let's see why I might have gotten 2,000. It'd have been a statement made,
Listen,
but
the only people who
they
talk
missed the
about
opportunity.
CIO is that
No,
food.
COI.
See, whatever the hell they call it. Is that food looking for this $100,000 a year? My brothers and sisters, it ain't gonna happen in your lifetime. This is the port cake. I ain't gonna lie to you. I love you. I know the port cake ain't gonna lie. It ain't gonna happen in this lifetime. Maybe when you come back and God put the money in your pocket, when you come with your ma belly, you can have $100,000 in your hand. That's the only way you get it under the sea. What do you got, CIO?
The way the port cake talking, Shanique Miller, you know, election time is on its way.
Listen,
I don't know what's going on.
Listen, we had to get it out there. We had to get it out there. Maybe later in the week, I hope to have a PLP and an F&M discuss the issues as well as discuss what it is that we gave opinion on this evening. I thank you very much, Leslie Miller and Garth Rosborough. You guys are always opinionated, always spot on, always call it like you see it. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to shift gears and speak with the Nurses Union president. I mean, is she in a power struggle? What's happening in her union?
So is she gone?
But is she even president still? We're going to speak with Muriel Lightbourne right after the break.
You gotta hear this one.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world. People want Bahamian things, and if you got things to sell, sell on Tingsy. Find out how you can connect with a sea of buyers by visiting tingsybahamas.com.
So my name is Dr. Sophia Roll. I'm the resident artist for the Via Hamea Art House and Gallery. This is not something that I've gone to school for, if you will. I'm a professor. I recently got into art in 2015 because it was something that I always wanted to do. I saw something about fluid art, the abstract expressionism of fluid art really drew me. And so I'm always thinking now about art. I see the world through art. So that is, for me, very, very gratifying, very, very satisfying. So receiving the Women's Initiative grant really impacted the business because it allowed me to see in that I could have taken my craft, my art, outside of the gallery walls and really maximizing on some of the training, some of the skills that we learned. The advice that I would give to not only women, but anyone who's interested in starting a small business or starting a business is to just get started. You have to take the first step. And if you take the first step, you'd be amazed at how far you can continue to walk in that space.
For more information about how the SBDC can help your small business to make a big impact, give us a call at 461-7232 or visit sbdcbahamas.com.
luck? We take sports seriously. Get ready to experience the thrill of winning anytime and any place. Bet in real time and live the thrill of every play while watching your winnings stack up. It's your chance to score big with fast payouts and a world-class experience. Get in the game and bet the Bahamian way with Island Luck Sportsbook.
So you want a space. But not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience, with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Is there a power struggle in the nurses' union? Reports of the union president being ousted and police having to be called in are creating a narrative that maybe the union does not want at this point. Tonight, is Muriel Lightbourne still president even? Well, she joins me this evening here on Beyond the Headlines. Good evening to you, Madam President. It's good to have you here. Thank you for being here.
Good evening, Ms. Miller. It's good to be here.
Are you still president of the nurses' union?
Still president.
What is going on with every so often these headlines of you being ousted or being locked out of the office, which I think you were, or the locks changed, something going
Yes.
on, and the Secretary General apparently creating a distraction for the work that you're trying to get done. What's happening?
Well, Ms. Miller, I could say to you that I'm not easily distracted. Not easily distracted. The Secretary General, she would have been suspended on April 22nd of this year. This was a letter that was sent to myself from members of the union, financial members of the union, complaining about her actions, her actions that was not productive for the union.
Oh.
And they would have made a complaint. On top of this complaint, the Secretary General, she would have sent out resolutions saying that the executive committee would have passed these resolutions. Never happened.
Well, how was she still able to operate in this manner when she's been suspended, according to you? You have receipts that the people
Right.
don't want her there. But she's being a disruption. Like, how is this being allowed to
Exactly.
continue?
This is the notice of her suspension. She was suspended on the 22nd of April in our executive meeting. This is a notice that went out on the 23rd of April. This is a letter that went out. This went out to the members. This went out to the registrar of the trade unions. This went out to Mr. Colin Higgs, the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Health. Not only did this went out to him on the 25th, this was also stating that she was to return to work immediately.
As a nurse?
As a nurse. This went out.
Has she returned?
She has not yet returned to work. Despite the registrar getting this letter, the registrar would have sent the same lady. Why is she acting like this? The only thing left is that maybe they could explain this. The registrar would have sent this lady, the suspended Secretary General, to ILO to represent the Bahamas Nurses Union and the
And they were
country
notified that she was suspended already? Okay, so
sent
who-
me a letter
so who
saying
in the
that they
Ministry of-
received it.
Wait now, who in the Ministry of Health is somehow trying to create this discord that's happening?
Well,
or
the
wherever it
Ministry of
is?
Health is actually waiting for her to return to work.
Oh, well, how come they waiting for her to return to work?
To
And she's
work.
deciding that she...
And she is not yet
reportedly,
returned to work.
allegedly is not returning.
She's not yet returned to work, but she could represent the Bahamas.
No way. We're
At Switzerland.
This
for
is
ILO.
Now? You're saying now or when?
She went there after suspension. She just returned back a few, maybe about 2 weeks ago, after suspension. The Secretary General would have made some accusations in the news regarding, first of all, my financial status as the union president, or my membership. When we were elected, we were seconded to the union. In our secondment, this is Article 17 of, we have two industrial agreements, one for the government that represents DPH where she works. I work at PHA. This article states that when you are seconded, it is agreed that the employer accommodate no more than 3 elected union executive officers for secondment without pay. When I was seconded, the Public Hospital Authority stopped paying me. Asked me, how is it that the government was still paying this person? How is it that the government was still paying her a portion of her salary while the union was paying her to be in the office as the Secretary General? And she could have the audacity to go there and talk about me. The thing about all of this is, she knows quite well that once my salary was stopped, that my name would not appear on the checkoff system as a deduction from PHA. She knows that. All of them knows that. But it's so ironic, Shanique, that we were elected in January of 23. My last salary deduction would have come from PHA May of 23, right? So how is it now that you're saying 20 months later, or she ain't a member of the union because she's not financial, why are you saying that 20 months later?
Why do you suppose she's saying it?
Our Constitution, she's saying it because she left work, she was away without leave at work. As a matter of fact, she sat in an executive meeting and she said to me, I am not coming back into this union unless you get it in your head that I run this union. So I said to her, because I did psychiatry, so I have to reword it to her so I could get the full understanding. So I said to her, so you're not coming, what you're saying is you're not coming back here. So she said, not as long as you're sitting in this chair and you don't get it that I run this union. So true to her word, she did not come. So after she did not come to the office, she did not call me, she did not show up to work, she didn't say anything, she didn't report anything. Well, our industrial agreement says, if any employee is away without leave for 7 days without any explanation, they could be fired. So you think that I am going to sit down in the office, the Secretary General was away without leave for 6 weeks, and I'm supposed to pay her of the nurses' money?
No.
It won't happen.
It doesn't sound
It would not happen.
Like the math is mathing.
And so, after she was not paid, she went on this war with me. I don't have time to run on with the Secretary General.
How long can this be allowed to go on and drag out? Because it really gives the impression of women not being able to get along, of just something just silly.
And it's just awful. It is just awful. Shanique, after her suspension on the 22nd, she would have taken to Facebook with these same things. She would have taken to Facebook with talking about, we was fired, the nurses union president was fired. she went on with this whole story. On the 29th of April, we had a general meeting. Mm-hmm. The nurses voted to have her removed. They passed a motion on the floor for her to be removed without being able to run for this union again.
Okay, then how is she empowered? Because how does she have a headline in the news today?
She's empowered because I believe she's being empowered by the Ministry of Labor.
What?
She's being empowered by the Ministry of Labor. I'm believing because this Secretary General, when she was suspended on the 22nd of April, she went it was about 10:22 p.m. She sent an email to the registrar. The registrar, I think it was directed to her, but because she liked to send things, she ended up sending it to the unions group, the membership, where we were. And so we was able to see the meeting, the letter. The email read, and I was supposed to print it to bring here. It said that we have to now, she said, I'm sorry to reach out to you this hour tonight, but I am wanting to get your permission to advance our agenda. So when she sent this, in the media, this thing with, or the president was fired, all kind of stupid things started to come in.
So she mistakenly, she showed her hand. She mistakenly sent some information she wasn't to the group, to your group, the unions group.
And while she was suspended, and even though the Ministry of Labor sent me a letter acknowledging that she was suspended and that she has no authority to do any business on behalf of the nurses union, they were still communicating with her via email. So, but they thought they had blocked me. She thought she had blocked me out of the email, but I had another device would have the email that was open up that I never closed. And so I was able to follow all of the communications between Mrs. Yala and the suspended Secretary General. Every communication that went between them. All, when it comes to the things that was on the files of the union, in the Labor Department, all those things she was sending to her, and they were communicating, and she was communicating with this other church.
So this Ms. Yallop is connected to the Ministry of Labor? Or
yes, she's the registrar.
Yes, okay.
She's the registrar responsible for unions. And so this is what was going on. So I say, I'm not even bothered with that. I'm not bothered with that, Janique, because I have a lot of things on my plate as it pertains to the nurses. There's a lot of things that is going on. I met with Ms. Yallop. I asked Ms. Yallop when we wanted to see the files, the nurses union files at Labor. I met with her, praise the Lord. I had a sharp steward with me when I went into that meeting with her. Ms. Yallop said to me, you're gonna have election in June. Ms. Yallop does not dictate when we have election. I was elected in January of 2023. Our Constitution says that you're elected to serve 3 years.
So that's next year.
So you don't tell me when you are going to have an election. There was nothing on our files. However, all of our audit returns were not on our files. However, it's in the possession of our Secretary General.
So she's being empowered to be a disruption in the union and to fight against you and to publicly have this matter drag on.
Yes, she is.
Is there nothing that you can do?
Well, there is a court case now that is going on.
This is now before the court?
So, yes, it's now before the court, right? But I have no fear, Ms. Miller, because our members are all aware of everything that was placed inside that report. Our members are all aware of it. And so that's nothing new. It may be new for the reporter, but it's nothing new for us in the union. And our members are very, very angry about her actions. They are very, very angry about it. If you did not come to work, I am not going to pay you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Again, she went off. That's when she went to ILO. She went off. I did not know that the Secretary General was first of all, she claimed she was on vacation leave. She never requested the leave. She never said anything to me, but I knew she was on vacation leave when a member came to the office saying that the Secretary General sent it to me, Madam President, the Secretary General sent me to you because she said she is on vacation. As a matter of fact, she's off the island. That's when I knew the Secretary General was not on the island. You think I am going to pay her? Again, she's away without leave. Yeah. I cannot pay her of the union's money. I cannot do that because when these nurses, if they were to leave work, they not show up to work for 7 days according to our industrial agreement, their institution, their boss could fire them. So why am I going to pay you?
Well, I certainly hope that you all get this sorted out.
It will be sorted out. I have no doubt about it.
Not that it's a matter before the court.
Yes,
yeah,
I have no doubt about it.
Because the headlines are, headlines are give the impression of a union in chaos, really.
Yes.
And so you came here this evening to certainly speak to your membership and the public about what that meant and the fact that no, you've not been ousted.
Right.
You are very much in office.
Yes.
Were the locks changed?
Well, the locks were changed.
Who changed them?
The locks was changed on a good week Monday.
Yesterday?
Yesterday. The Secretary General would have changed the lock. How I would have known that the locks was changed, the reporter would have called me to say that they did an interview at the office. So I said, what office? So when she told me what office, I say, really? So I said, well, anyway, I need to go speak with my lawyer and find out and take the police to find out what was going on up there. Well, lo and behold, before I had an opportunity to speak to the lawyer, to leave to go to the lawyer, I had a knock on the door. And so when I went to my door, I answered my door, and the gentleman came to the door and said, are you Muriel Lightburn? So I said, yes. So he said, okay, I am Officer Knowles, and I come for the car for the union, the keys for the union.
Wow.
Listen to me, Shanique. The man come, the officer come to my door with nothing. No kind of nothing.
No official paper.
No official papers, no nothing. To tell me he come for the car keys and he come in peace.
Jokes and games.
Jokes.
Jokes and games.
Mr.
Did you give him the keys is the question.
Mr. Miller.
This Wonder Woman, you know. You think if she could strip on TV as Wonder Woman?
No.
You think
of course, you know he's not getting no keys from me.
I thank you so much. Justin has already said, end the show.
Yes.
Listen, I thank you, President of the Bahamas Nurses Union, Muriel Lightburn. Thank you so much for joining us and clarifying what those headlines are and what's going on. I certainly wish your union the best moving forward. I want to thank, of course, at the top of tonight's show, Leslie Miller and Garth Rosborough. And I want to thank all of you this evening for tuning in. I certainly hope that you enjoyed the show. And I look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.